Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for attending this webinar today. My name is Alan Kusura, and I am the Vice President of Operations here at Intrepid. And today I get the distinguished honor of introducing everybody to our great new online enrollment platform, Employee Navigator. This is just a reminder, this is part of a two-part webinar series we're having. Today we're going to be discussing Employee Navigator, and next Thursday, August 20th at 11 a.m., please mark your calendars and join us where we're going to be discussing the 2015 marketplace. We're going to be talking about some trends that we're seeing happening this year versus last year's, what some impacts that some of the new insurances are having on our benefits and rates. So it's going to be a really exciting and informative webinar. So be sure next Thursday, August 20th at 11 a.m. But for today, here we are to discuss our new Employee Navigator. Before I go into it, though, I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking a little bit about, Intrepid and our commitment to our clients. We're excited. We're continuing to expand our product offering to clients. Just in the last few years, we have introduced complete compliance services, which includes preparing and distributing all of your required notices. We have retained the services of Maynard Cooper and Gale, a prestigious national ERISA attorney firm who hosts monthly webinars for our clients and is available for ERISA support. And those are just two of the things that we've brought to the table. This here today we're going to be discussing is going to make everybody's lives, our clients and the employees, I believe, of your companies very happy. So Employee Navigator really does flow into the mission of Intrepid, which is to instill pride, prosperity, and protection. We do this by partnering with our clients to create a healthy and loyal workforce while protecting you from the burdens related to compliance, health of key employees, productivity, and succession. And I think what we're going to be talking about today will hit the button on all of these items. Intrepid, just as a reminder, we are very heavily engaged in technology. We've been building websites for our clients since before it was trendy. I think our first website went up in the mid-90s. Back then, it was mostly for very large companies. It wasn't a very scalable solution. The insurance carriers wouldn't accept it in small group, which is the under 50 marketplace. Now what we see is for the most large part, we can operate with the insurance carriers and make the transition seamless. So Employee Navigator, it's a scalable solution. It's going to allow employees to make their benefits elections from any internet-connected device. It can also be used for the distribution and collection of all new hire forms. Employees will be able to access the portal 24/7 through their internet or through an app on their phone. And the great thing about the app on the phone is they can view all their benefits. They can also search for providers. They can pull up a virtual ID card, and they can, of course, contact us for assistance. So with that, I'm going to go straight into the demonstration of the employee side. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to register our test employee. So once an employee registers, they are taken into a series of onboarding items, which anything of the onboarding can be turned on or off. We can use Employee Navigator for just the benefits enrollment and selection and demographic changes. Or if you would like, we could turn on the features to allow for you to gather their withholding information, the employee's signature on the employment agreement, their signatures on receipt of the employee handbooks, the notice of exchange, all of the new hire paperwork that you're doing. We can automate that entire process through Employee Navigator. So it's a separate module. We can certainly turn it on, or we can turn it off. But for today's purpose, I have it on here, so we can go through and see what an employee sees. First, they're brought to a welcome screen, which is customized by the owner or by the executive of the company. Then they're taken for their electronic signature, which is the HIPAA-compliant way for them to recognize the summary plan description and receipt of all the required notices. After that, an employee is taken to complete their profile information. So if this wasn't already entered for them on their behalf, they can enter in their address information. After the address, the employee is taken in we have the onboarding turned on here. So the employee here is asked to complete their I-9 information. So this is the I-9 form, that employment eligibility form which we see, which I'm sure we're all familiar with. As soon as you hire a new employee, they're required to fill out. This probably looks familiar to you. And if they're a citizen or how their what their eligibility to work is, and then as the employer, you're required to verify the documents and sign off on it. So all of that can be handled online through Employee Navigator. The employee selects their status, and then the employee is given the option to click a button to add their file. So they can upload, and they can do this from their phone as well. They can take a picture of their license and their social security card or their passport, upload that straight in, and then Employee Navigator will keep this information. This will not put it on the actual I-9 form for you, but if the Department of Labor ever came in and asked you, we'll show you on the back end how to save that information into a file on your computer. All right, so after the I-9 form, the employee is taken in to complete their withholding, which is for tax purposes, the federal withholding form, single zero or married zero, or whatever their accountant tells them to file. So this keeps track of that for you as well, if you would like that to be turned on. And after the federal form, the employee is taken dependent on the state that they are that they're entered in on their address. They're taken to their state withholding form. So this is, in this case, and for most of our employees, they're here in California. So they just enter in the California withholding information. And at any time, the employee can click and be taken to the actual official withholding form from the state. All right, we have emergency contacts turned on here for this employee. So if emergency contacts are something that you would like to keep track of, or that you currently keep track of, you can certainly turn this on, or the employee can give them the option to leave their emergency contact information blank. Okay, so those are a few of the basic onboarding tasks that employees can see. And you can imagine we can add on 20 different things there. You can have that going for days. But once the employee goes in and they complete their initial onboarding tasks, every time they log in from this point forward, they're brought straight into their homepage. So you'll notice the colors here are currently blue and green. This is for Intrepid. This is for our demo page, but this could have the look and feel of your company, your corporate branding. The logo of your company would show up here on the top left, where we have the name of the demo company. That could be your company name or your logo. And employees can do a few things from their homepage. They can view their profile, which will allow them to add their dependents. They can update their address, and any changes that they want to make, they can do straight through here. And the great thing is, as soon as they update their profile, two things will happen. You will be notified via email if you want to, or we can set up for you to see it on the back end. And the broker, Intrepid, will be able to, on the back end, be notified as well. So if an employee, say they have a baby today, they go in here, they go into the dependent information, they can add in their baby, and it will allow them to get them enrolled on the coverage. So there's no more forms going back and forth between our offices and your computer and the employees and signatures. Everything's done here online automatically. Employees can view their benefits, so we're going to go through that module in just a second. Employees can view their remaining required tasks, which you can set a task to. These are the onboarding features. You can set these to all be required before the employee even comes to this page, so they get them all up front, or you can say, some items like confidentiality agreement or notice of exchange, they need to view that, but you want to go ahead and let them log into the site before they have to confirm those things. And just as another example of the different types of onboarding tasks, we set up a test employee handbook. So the nice thing about the employee handbook feature is, or any of the features, are for this purpose, the employee is required to actually open the document before they're allowed to acknowledge that they received the document. So this is just one more catch-all, one more CYA. So after an employee opens the document and they go back here into Employee Navigator, now they can check the box to say they view the document, they click Finish. So just an added feature to make sure that the employees are really reading the important things that you want them to be reading. So I'm going to go back here to the home page. And then the last item, resources, you can add in if you have company websites or intranet, or if you have any vendor pages you want employees to have access to on one page, you can add them in here as resources as well. So I'm going to go in to start the benefits, and you can do that one of two ways. You can see this is a new employee. We set this person up as just hired yesterday, so they're going to be eligible the first of the month after 30 days of employment. So they're going to click Start Benefits right here. And this will take them through to reconfirm their information and get them enrolled in benefits. So it's great once they add their information in, they can add their dependents. So I'm going to go ahead and add in for our test to Benjamin Franklin. I'll go ahead and give the spouse of Mary for the history buffs out there. So Mary, spouse, and then the employee just has to put in the information of the spouse, their date of birth, because the rates for the most part are based off now of each individual member's rates. And then the Social Security number is important. The insurance carriers all require the Social Security number because they are required to report that in 2016 for all dependents. So we do require the employees to enter that for their dependents. But as you saw, I typed in a dummy. So if an employee doesn't have the social right there, they could put in zeros or ones and go back to it. I don't recommend that, but they certainly can. All right, so now we're brought in after the employee adds their dependents, they're taken in to enroll in all of the various lines of coverage. Here for this example, we have 3 types of plans the employee can enroll in, and we see on one very easy shot here what the costs are for each plan by pay period. So the employee, and if the employee wanted to click their dependent, you click on spouse. Now it updates automatically with the spouse's rate built into it. So no more rate books and rate tables and trying to manually calculate what the cost is in a monthly versus weekly or biweekly. All of that's done through here automatically now. So if the employee, they can compare the plans side by side. And we have 2 HMO plans and a PPO plan here, but the system, it allows, as long as it's medical insurance, it allows you to compare them side by side. So the employee can see the different, the HMO, PPO, what the network name is when they're going to search for the providers, and then they can compare the various deductibles, co-pays, co-insurances, things of that nature. So this is a great tool for employees to see, okay, do I want to pay for $108 for a PPO, or I have a $1,700 deductible, or do I want to pay a little bit more for an HMO where I have no deductible unless I go to a facility? So this is great. The employees, they really appreciate having this in layman's terms, the ability to view the plan information. And if they wanted to drill into a plan specifically, they could click on details. And this has the phone number to the insurance carrier, that has all the details of the plan, and it also has a few resources down here. The official plan summary from the insurance carrier, which in this case is Blue Shield, the summary of benefits and coverage, disclosures, or they can click and be brought straight into the provider directory. So this will allow the employee to look up their provider, because if they enrolled in an HMO, they would need to enter that information before they can complete their enrollment process. So for this purpose, I'm going to go ahead and enroll in a PPO plan for Ben and his wife and be taken into dental insurance. All right, so for dental, and for all of the various types of insurance, the employee, they are not required to enroll the same way with every type of coverage. So they can say, maybe for dental, I just want to enroll myself, or actually, I'm just going to go ahead and decline dental altogether. They can say, do not want this benefit, why they don't want it, and then it will let them decline. Vision coverage, I'm going to go ahead and select that. All right, for the long-term disability and the life insurance, if there is a benefit that is tied to the salary of the employee, one great feature of Employee Navigator is it will automatically calculate the benefit for the employee. A lot of times employees don't understand when the company gives 60% of your salary for long-term disability insurance, they don't really understand what that means or what that equates to. So this shows them, rather than just explaining what the terms of the contract are, this says what your amount is. And it gives them when you're going to be effective, what your cost is, which for this case is 0. If there were voluntary options, there would be a sliding scale where they could select the coverage that they wanted, and then they could save and continue. Flexible spending account, these are the non-reimbursed medical expenses, or they could also have flexible spending accounts for dependent daycare, transportation and parking, things of that nature. So the flexible spending accounts, if your company offers this, we would need to set up, we would need to know what your pay periods are, so that we could make sure that we appropriately gather the per pay period deduction amount. Because the way the flexible spending account works is the employee elects an annual amount that they're allowed to use day one, and their annual amount is deducted over the remaining pay periods. So for this example, if we enrolled in $1,000, we have 8 pay periods remaining. The cost is $125 per pay period. So that's a nice way for the employee to see how much will be taken out of their check. And then the last example we have here for the benefits is the retirement. You could elect to have your retirement enrollment elections housed here in Employee Navigator as well. The employee can choose what amount they would like deferred, however your company has this set up. Go ahead and decline this. All right, after the employee enrolls in all of the various coverages, they're taken to a summary. The summary shows the employee what their cost is per pay period for all of their selections, so what their total cost is. It will also show all of their dependents and what plans the dependent enrolled in. We'll go down to the cafeteria coverage, and then it will show what coverages the employee declined. So as soon as the employee clicks agree here, they're complete with their enrollment summary. They go back to their homepage. The employee will receive an email confirming their benefits. You will receive an email letting you know that you need to update payroll information or a myriad of different items. And then on our side, your account manager will be notified, so we get them enrolled in the coverage as soon as they're eligible for it. So that's kind of a general overview of the employee side. Before I go in and show the back end, the HR side, I wanted to show one of the new features, which is the paid time off or time off requests. Employee Navigator has recently rolled this out over the last few weeks that now has the ability, depending on your accrual schedule, to handle all of your time off requests through Employee Navigator. So employees can click request time off. It will show, depending on the leave type that they have. We have a vacation leave set in here. The employee just says when they, which day they need off, or if it's a partial day, how many hours. It will show the balance the employee has, how much is left for the remainder of the year. And let's go ahead and give this a sample reason. We're going to say we're going on vacation. Although I think a new hire who was hired last week probably isn't going to take a vacation next week, but we'll see. Okay, so that's as simple as it is for the employee to request their time off, and on the back end, you'll be on the time off here, the employee can see a dashboard. It will show them the policy, how much they have accrued, what their balance is, how much is remaining. They can look at a calendar of their requested time offs. They could see the company holidays. This is a great new feature, and it's a little bit in the beta testing stages. I believe it's ready to go live. We have a few clients that have already implemented it, and we've seen great success. If it's a really complicated schedule, we just want to get together to make sure that it all calculates correctly. But this is a great new feature. All right, with that, I'm going to go into the administrative side and show everybody how that looks. Okay. So I'm going to log in now. It's the same username or same login page, but now I'm going to log in as my demo HR. Which this is most likely the login that you're going to have, so I'm speaking with most of the HRs here or the executives on this webinar. So a great thing, once you log in as the HR, you could at any point click on My Employee homepage, and it will take you into your homepage, so you can do your time off, your benefits, your profile, or you can always go back clicking on the company logo or the name, and it will take you back into the administrative side. So a few things we can do here. Since the time off was the last thing that I showed on the employee, I'll make that the first thing I show here. So on the PTO dashboard, the employer, you can log in and see your pending requests. You can approve or deny the requests, or if you have managers that you had approving these requests rather than yourself, you could remind the manager. And managers can be assigned by class or by employee or by location, whichever way you would like them assigned to delegate the responsibilities. This will show you the upcoming items, upcoming time off, and you can run balance reports. The payroll report, this is what's great for you to be able to import straight into your payroll the number of hours that were accrued. If it's an hourly employee that needs to make sure to get the hours paid for, right? You could just run that report for the days you're running, and then it will give you a list of all of the employees, their socials, how many hours they had. So you could import that into to your payroll. But if it's for a salaried employee and you just want to keep track of it, you can keep track of it here and leave the payroll bridge as is. All right, so I'm going to go in and show the wall feature, which is where all of the changes that occur in the system are captured here in the wall. We have a sample feed set up for anything that anytime there's an add, a change, or a term, there's a feed here that you can click on, and it will tell you exactly what happened. So this is Benjamin Franklin, as we've been playing around with them a little bit today. So we have a few different feeds, If you click on the I, it will tell you exactly what happened. So this is a change. He enrolled in the full silver PPO plan. We see he enrolled due to new hire. He was the last person to modify this. Here's his spouse, their information. So this is just more information for you in case you needed to keep track of this somewhere. You could print it, or in case the employee came back and asked you. We also have a few checklist items that we set up for the sample just to show an example. Let's say whenever a change occurs, you need to update payroll, you need to notify a manager, or you need to save in their file. You can use the Employee Navigator wall as a reminder item for you. So you just say, okay, I updated payroll here, go ahead and save that. Now it shows one of the 3 items are complete. So as you go through, you can check the boxes, and it will show you as you complete them when you complete it. So this is a great way to kind of, remind yourself as a checklist to be sure that you are that you don't miss anything on your side for your HR purposes. We have our own set of walls and feeds and features to ensure that any changes happen, that they're appropriately handled with the insurances. So that's what the wall features are there. Now I'm going to go into the reports, and I wanted to show just a few of the high-level reports that we can run here that we have examples of. The first is the payroll deduction report. Now, for the payroll deduction report, or for all of the reports, what happens once you go into a report, you select the fields that you want to show on the report. So we already have social, last name, first name. Let's go ahead, add in gender and salary, just in case we wanted to see that. And then on the enrollments, you select which types of line items you want to see there. Then you click View, and this gives us a list of all of the deductions with the employee cost and the employer cost per pay period broken out. So you can download this to Excel, you can upload it into your payroll, or you can have this whichever way to make sure that you have the payroll deductions all set up correctly and maintained as the plan year goes on. One thing I'd like to mention on the payroll deduction files is that Employee Navigator has partnerships with ADP through their Workforce Now product, also with Paylocity, ExecuCare, ExecuPay, and a couple other payroll vendors, where if you are set up with one of those payroll providers, we can have a report set in here in the system that you could run at any time, which will be in the format of that specific payroll provider's import file, which means all you would need to do is select the button. It will come out in that format that you needed already without having to make any adjustments to the file, and then you will be able to import that straight into the payroll system. So that's a great feature. And in the next couple of months, we expect to have a full integration where you will be able to click a button inside of Employee Navigator, and it will actually pull the demographic information from your payroll. It will push the demographic information to your payroll, so things like their name, their date of birth, their withholding information, and then for the payroll deductions, it will push that information as well. So that initially is going to be, again, with Paylocity, ADP, Workforce Now, and phase 2 will include Paycom, Paychex, Intuit, QuickBooks Payroll, and all of the other ADP formats. So that's going to be a great feature to automate the payroll experience. So that's the payroll deduction report, but the reports are very flexible. At any time you can go in and run a custom report, and there are 2 types of reports. You can do a columns-based or a row-based report, depending on what your preference is, how you like your reports to come out. You can see you can select from all of the various fields. Every field in Employee Navigator is exportable and reportable, so that you can create save reports for you to run over and over again. There's also a report for qualifications. So if you keep track of licenses or certifications for your employees, and you want to be sure to keep track of that through Employee Navigator, for example, we use this here at Intrepid. All of our account managers and producers have their California Department of Insurance license. So we now keep track of the licenses in Employee Navigator, and I can go in here and run a report whenever I want to see, who's coming up for the license renewal, when does it expire, what do we need to do. You can run that, and you can also have that for education as well, if there was continuing education required or other items. Right now this is blank because this is our demo, but the license tracking and certification tracking is another great feature. Let's see. You can also, over here on the benefits reports, the billing reports. So I'm not sure, some of you on the phone, or some of you on the webinar here, you may reconcile the bills yourself. You may have an accounting department that reconciles the bills. But if that falls in your bailiwick of your responsibilities, these carrier billing with rate reports are great, because you can customize them by class or by department and by carrier. And what you do basically is you can export this, print it to PDF, whatever's most convenient for you, and match this up next to your bill from the insurance carrier. So let's just say, for example, we're going to look at the October 1st bill, what that bill should look like. I'm going to generate it, and now here's all of the employees who should be on the bill, how they should be enrolled, what plan they should be enrolled on, what the premium is. So this is great to be able to make sure there's no stragglers missing from the bill, or that a rate is incorrect on the bill. These carrier billing reports are great. All right, and during open enrollment, you'll be able to run open enrollment reports. We don't have one set up here, but the great thing with the open enrollment reports is these will allow you the opportunity to see who started open enrollment, who's in process, who's completed. This will let you send reminders to reminder emails to employees to complete the process as you're going. To make sure that the open enrollment, that the employees go in and get that process moved along as quickly as possible, so that we can get their changes entered in with the carriers correctly and quickly and efficiently. So that open enrollment reports, those are great for that. All right, now I'm going to move on to the tasks. So we saw what the employee sees with the onboarding tasks, or the tasks themselves. Now I wanted to show a quick overview of the dashboard. So you can see here, this shows that there's 21 incomplete tasks. None of the tasks are complete at this point with our demo, but we can keep track of to see what exactly needs to be done by each employee. You can confirm. You can mark the task as completed. You can dismiss the task right here, and you can send reminders for all of the incomplete tasks. That's probably what you're going to be using this most for, is when employees go in, if they don't complete their tasks by the time that you want them to, this is an email basically where you type in a subject, type in a message, hit send, and it will automatically email all of the employees who have tasks that need to be completed to remind them to complete a task. You can also add in custom tasks. So let's say you needed to add in, you wanted to add in your social media policy. We call it this. So this is just a blanket task. We want to add this. What do we want to happen? We want the employees to electronically sign a document that you upload. You can upload your social media policy here, or you can type your social media policy, copy it in, and you can have them review a web page if you want. You can have them upload a file or review text. And this is a great way for you to have on record of gathering all of your required notices to the employees. All right, so that's kind of an overview of the tasks there. And now I'm going to go into an actual employee to show you what you can look up for an employee. So let's go into our little tester today, Benjamin Franklin. So we can see a few things here. We can see that they're currently in their new hire enrollment phase. They have 34 days left to complete their new hire enrollment. We can see which tasks are currently missing for this employee, so when we can remind them of the tasks they need to complete. We can terminate the employee. We can go straight into the employee homepage. If we click here, this will take us into the employee's homepage directly. And we can also, there's employee notes here on the bottom left. The notes features are really for you and your HRIS functionality. So if you wanted to keep track of, let's say, a positive, a client called in and they gave a positive note about the employee, you wanted to keep track of that, you could type it in here, put the note in, save it. You can allow the employee to see the note if you want, or if you wanted to keep track of employees who were coming in late or missing, you can keep track of that here as well. And then if you wanted to, you can also add files. So the system is set up to be able to handle all of the onboarding tasks. But if you have, say, custom employee agreements with every employee, and you have attorneys review them every time or something, and it just doesn't make sense to do it on a mass level through the tasks, you can have them fill it out, sign it. You can attach it right here. You can also create onboarding requirements for specific employees. You could do it that way too. But here you can just add the file in, hit save, and then this is on the employee's profile forever. So this is great for you. This is really what's going to be able to get those files out of your drawers and into the cloud, into a HIPAA compliant cloud. A few things on the employee. If you click on benefit summary, you're taken to an area where you can see exactly what the employee enrolled in, how they enrolled, what their cost is per pay period, and items to that effect. You can also see which plans they're eligible for if you were curious. If one of the plans wasn't showing up, you could look in here and it'll say if they weren't eligible or why they're not eligible. All right, and then documents, the documents item here for the employees. This will show, after the employee enrolls, this will give you an example of all of the documents for the relevant plans. So a lot of times what happens, what we see is, an employee will come into your office, your HR's office, they'll say, hey, I need to go to get the glasses, and I don't remember, what do I pay when I go to get my glasses, or I don't remember what plan I was on. The documents is going to show just the plans the employee enrolled in, and you can at any point click on the PDF or whatever document it is, and here's their official plan summary from the insurance carrier. So that's a great feature. A lot of times employees, we're bogged down on the back end, the HRs, because the employees are trying to come in and understand their benefits. But that's what this is here for. So after an employee completes their new hire enrollment, they're taken into you have the ability on the back end to update their benefits. These would only be applicable if there was qualifying events. So this gives you all of the different options. Say they got married or they had a baby, or if they're adding coverage because they had new hours or some sort of override. This would allow you to make all of those changes. And the employees can also go in and make those changes themselves if you'd like to give them the option to. And that way, you don't have to sit with them and hold their hand through that whole process. So that's kind of an overview here of the employee. Now I'm going to go into So I'm back here at the home page now. So we've kind of gone through most of these. The one that I did gloss over here is the ACA. So if you are an applicable large employer, which means if you have over 50 full-time equivalent employees, and I could do a whole webinar on what that means, but you may know, or we may have already spoken with you about that. If you are an applicable large employer, this ACA dashboard is what will keep track of your full-time employees, your variable hour employees. This will be able to do your reporting, your 1095 reporting, 1094 reporting, or what's commonly referred to as Section 6055, 606656 reporting. So this can handle all of the reporting features through the ACA. And if you have 40 or 10 or 20 employees, whichever, we can always turn this off so you don't accidentally click it or have to wonder, what's this ACA thing here? This is just a new added feature that can track all that information. So with that, that's kind of the general overview here of our Employee Navigator website. And I'm going to go through here the chat features and see if we have which questions we have. And feel free to add in any chat questions in the chat feature over on the right side of your GoToMeeting, and I'll be happy to answer those. Okay, I'm just going to read through here. All right, I received a question on is it possible for an employee to register themselves? Yes, it is. So we do need to have the employee added in just the very basic information, their name, their social, their date of birth, the date of hire, just so that the system can calculate things correctly. But if you just put that information in, nothing else, and you didn't have an email address, the employees can certainly self-register. And all of the login for Employee Navigator is through our website, through the Intrepid CA website, which if you haven't seen it recently, we redid it a little bit ago. It's a very nice and flashy, friendly page now. So client logins is where you can go. And the employees can log into the Employee Navigator portal if they know their username and password, or they can click here on New User Registration. So this is basically what they need: their name, the company identifier, their PIN, which is their social, and then their date of birth. This will let them register themselves. And one thing to note that we know that technology, while it's great, and maybe all of your employees will go straight on the website, some people, they still love to have the paper that they hold and feel and touch. So with all of our websites that we're going to be building for our clients, we will also have a customized employee benefit booklet. Those are what we're used to seeing, what you've been used to seeing the last few years, that have all of the carrier plan summaries, all of those things in there. We're going to do an abridged version of that because most of that's all going to be available on the website, but we will include the plan comparisons, how to enroll on the website, the carrier contact information, our contact information, things of that nature. So the employees, they'll get a 4, 8, or 12-page bound booklet, which will be customized with your company's look and feel as well. Which will be their guide to enroll in the Employee Navigator. And I think that, plus the online website, that's going to be a great feature. Okay, another question we received here is, can an employer help an employee? Can an employer go in on the employee's behalf and enroll the employee? Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to go back here into the HR. So let's go into our tester here, Mr. Franklin. And as the HR, if you wanted to have the employee sit with you in your office, or if the employee just wasn't going online, and let's say you wanted to go in and you were able to get them to decline all coverages, maybe have them send you an email confirming they don't want to enroll in anything, so you have proof that in case they ever asked you. But you can click right here, and you can go. This will take you basically into the employee's profile, and you can make all of the changes through there. Okay, I'm just going through here with a couple other questions. Okay, here we go. Sorry, bear with me here. So when does the website launch to employees? Okay, that's a great question. The website is available as soon. Our goal is to get these rolled out with the company's renewal. So if you are an October 1st or November 1st or December 1st renewal, our goal is to get this rolled out with your open enrollment. If not, a little bit sooner. If you're interested and you want to move forward, we've built these already for dozens of our clients. We've tested it. We've been in beta testing for the last 7 or 8 months. So we wanted to bring it to the market once we were very confident and we knew how to build them, and we felt really good about it. So yes, so the employees will be able to do their online enrollment, assuming you're going to renew your insurance as is. Most likely we'll be able to renew online through Employee Navigator. If you're changing insurance carriers, all of the carriers for the most part have online enrollment for ongoing, but some of them still require wet signatures for changing insurance carriers. So if they required a wet signature, we could still do it through Employee Navigator if we wanted to. There would just be an extra task for the employee to use their mouse and electronically sign the application. So it can definitely still all be done online, but there may be an added step there. All right, and then one last question here before I finish up here is there a feature on the administrator side to manage offboarding? Yes. So we know that that comes with the with being on the HR side. So what we can do is the employee, if you have an offboarding, if you're offboarding an employee, you can have a whole set of tasks set up, which are only available after the employee is set into a certain class, and that class you could designate to terminating employee. So you would set that class, and then they could log in. They'll be taken in for their acknowledgement of what all of their required offboarding tasks are. And if you had any custom things you had them sign, like a final paycheck acknowledgement or something that had the actual paycheck amounts on it, you could just have them sign that, and then you could add that in as a document on the employee's profile. So, and then once the employee terminates, there was the terminate option, which I went over real quick. You click on terminate employment here, and this will take us through, and this will actually terminate them from the insurance plan, and this is what you can keep as if it was voluntary or involuntary, however they were terminated. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody, for attending this webinar. Feel free to reach out to your Intrepid account manager for an individual demo or for information. And the process for getting these going, if you are interested, go ahead and send them an email. They will reply back to you with we have a simple little questionnaire that we need filled out, which just basically goes over, how are your classes of your employees, how often are your employees paid, or how often are deductions taken, things that we know for the most part, for example, eligibility, what's your wait period. We know what the wait period is for the medical insurance or for the dental insurance, but what we don't know is sometimes you have part-timers that aren't eligible or other things, so we are going to ask a couple questions just to make sure we set the site up correctly. And we will be responsible for setting the site up, implementing the website, and then we will train you and we'll have ongoing support for you as the administrator to add employees, make changes, things like that. But we'll be here in step with you through every step of the process. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar here. Thank you very much, and everybody have a great day.